There is something about owning unique and rare antique pieces that outshine wearing insanely expensive clothes, driving fancy vehicles, or even sailing in the finest yachts. It is the epitome of luxury because it meets both the benchmarks, uniqueness and exclusivity. Every year, the wealthiest individuals on our planet partake in auctions worldwide to purchase these pieces to make them the jewel of their metaphorical crown. It is no surprise that when the billionaires and millionaires of the world compete for one item, the price will skyrocket. Thus, every now and then, we read or hear about record-breaking purchases. We have decided to explore the most expensive antique purchases in the world in this video. You will be shocked to know the value of some of these pieces. So, let's get to them. Number 5. Patek Philippe Super Complication Pocket Watch. The rivalries among professional sports players, scientists, and even entrepreneurs are well documented, but not many are familiar with the rivalry of collectors. It was such a rivalry of the 20th century between a banker, Henry Graves, and American automaker James Ward Packard that produced a Super Complication pocket watch, a prized piece that was sold for a whopping $24 million in an auction in 2014. It is believed that both Graves and Packard commissioned Patek Philippe to design complicated pocket watches, and the company delivered to both of them. Several such pieces were designed, but the one that stood out was commissioned by Henry Graves, who spent 60,000 Swiss francs to design and manufacture a Super Complication pocket watch. Accounting for inflation, the price is equivalent to $219,000 in 2023. Patek Philippe took 3 years to design and another 5 years to manufacture the watch before finally delivering it to Henry Graves on January 19, 1933. It was the world's most complicated mechanical timepiece at that time and remained so for another 50 years. The watch offered a total of 24 functions, including Westminster chimes, a perpetual calendar, sunset and sunrise times, and a celestial map of New York, as seen from the Graves apartment at 835 Avenue 5th Avenue. Even though the Patek Philippe Caliber 89 bested the record for most complications, it was made taking the assistance of computers. Thus, Super Complication remains the most complicated mechanical watch ever designed without computer assistance. After the death of Graves, it was inherited by his daughter, who passed it on to her son, who ultimately sold it to a museum. Since then, the watch has been part of several auctions, and the latest price tag that it commanded is about $24 million. Bought by a member of Qatari royal family, Sheikh Saad bin Mohammed Al Thani, in 2014. Number 4. Leonardo da Vinci's Codex Leicester. Many of us know Leonardo da Vinci as the famous painter who painted the Mona Lisa, but the man was far from a mere glorified artist. He was an Italian polymath of the High Renaissance who played the active roles of draftsman, engineer, scientist, theorist, and even architect. The Codex Leicester, also known as Codex Hammer, is a collection of scientific writings penned by da Vinci himself. The document was named Leicester after its owner, Thomas Coke, Earl of Leicester, who purchased it in 1717. The document provides valuable insight into one of the greatest minds of the 17th century and also illustrates a link between art and science and the creativity of the scientific process. It is a leather-bound notebook comprising 36 sheets, which is not a linear script but a mixer of da Vinci's theories and observations of different topics, including astronomy, properties of fossils, celestial lights, air, rocks, and water. The Codex remained in possession of Thomas Coke, followed by the Leicester estate for the longest time till 1980, before finally being purchased by a wealthy industrialist and art collector Armand Hammer, who renamed it to the Codex Hammer. While the document was in his possession, he commissioned Carlo Pedretti to compile the loose pages of the documents and their translation in English, a project which was completed in 1987. The current owner of the prized document is Bill Gates, who purchased it off from the auction in 1994 for a price of $30 million. Until 2021, it was the most expensive book ever sold. Number 3. The Clark Sickle-Leaf Carpet. Persian rugs have always been among the most sought-after items in the auction and often generate lucrative amounts for the museum. However, the Clark Sickle-Leaf, a 17th century rug, broke all the previous records when it was sold for $33.8 million in 2013. The previous record for the most expensive rug was $9.6 million, which, not to mention, was shattered by a margin by the Clark Sickle-Leaf. The rug gets its name from the sickle leaf pattern and is decorated with swirling vines and vibrant flowers. It was bequeathed to the Corcoran Gallery along with few other items by an industrialist and former U.S. Senator William Clark. Experts believe it was made in the first half of the 17th century in Kerman, southeast Iran. The carpet is highly valued for two reasons. One, for being a 17th century design, and second, the vase technique used to make patterns on the rug. According to the auction house, it is the only known rug with a red background. The new owner of the rug participated in the auction via phone. Not much is known about his or her identity. Number 2. Rugo brush washer bowl. Like the Persian rugs, Chinese ceramics are also among the most sought-after items in the auctions. The recent example of the interest of collectors in the ceramicware is reflected by the purchase of a 1,000-year-old brush washer bowl, which sold for $37.7 million only after 20 minutes of intense bidding. It is regarded as the most celebrated of all wares in the history of Chinese ceramics and broke the previous record of $36.05 held by Ming Dynasty Chicken Cup. The Rugo is part of the famous Ruware or Jewware, a rare type of Chinese pottery from the Song Dynasty. These items were produced exclusively for imperial court, that too for a brief period of time. Only 100 of such pieces have survived, and out of them, only few of them are in pristine condition. They have a characteristic pale duck egg blue gaze, which is often described as like the blue of the sky in a clearing of clouds after rain. Number 1. Pinner Qing Dynasty Vase. The Pinner Qing Dynasty Vase is the most expensive antique to ever be sold at auction in the history of modern civilization. A Chinese family held the vase in their possession for the longest time without knowing its true value. It was believed to be an ordinary old Chinese vase and was thus tucked away unnoticed for years before a family member found it while clearing out her late sister's modest suburban London home. The lady took the vase to a small auction house on a block at Bainbridge, and it was sold for a record $83 million, scooped up by a Chinese buyer. The story turned out to be a fairy tale for the family who owned the vase, although how it was acquired by the family remains unknown. However, the buyer was aware of its value. Painted sky blue and imperial yellow, adorned with medallions depicting leaping goldfish, the 16-inch vase dates back to the Qing Dynasty. It is believed to be designed for the personal collection of Emperor Qianlong because it bears an imperial seal. That's all for this video. We hope it was fun. Let us know what you think of the video in the comment section. As always, we will see you at the next one.